Welcome to the Vortex Energy Podcast. We'll be exploring the transformative power of consciousness and personal growth. I'm your host, Barbara Longuet, and today we're diving deep into the fascinating book, Mediocre Monk. It's a journey that promises to unravel the intricate layers of spiritual awakening and self-discovery. And it's pretty funny. In this episode, we'll explore how one individual's seemingly ordinary path can reveal extraordinary insights into energy, mindset, and personal transformation. Get ready to challenge your perceptions and unlock new dimensions of understanding your inner potential. And without any further ado, we're going to let AI help us create this interview.
Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring this really interesting memoir called Mediocre Monk by Grant Lindsley.
Oh, yeah. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's really insightful and kind of funny in a lot of places. Yeah. But the book follows Lindsley's journey as he travels to Thailand to live in a forest monastery.
Right.
And then kind of his, struggles and transformations he goes through as he's kind of seeking some sort of meaning and purpose.
Yeah, he's trying to figure things out.
Yeah. So let's dive into that journey and see kind of what we can glean from his experience.
Sounds good.
So right off the bat, Lindsley arrives in Thailand, and he kind of has this romanticized vision of what he expects to find.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He thinks it's going to be all, serene meditation and, profound wisdom, just kind of like...
Yeah, like instantly.
Yeah, like handed to him on a silver platter, and then reality hits him pretty hard.
It does. I mean, even bus ride to the monastery, like no reclining seats. And this TV that's just stuck on this bizarre commercial loop.
Like on repeat.
Yeah, so not exactly the tranquil, silent journey he was probably envisioning.
Not quite.
And then when he actually gets to the monastery, instead of having these deep conversations with these enlightened gurus and stuff, he's met with this crowded dormitory, endless chores, and honestly, a lot of grumpy monks.
It's interesting how he reacts to all of this. Instead of kind of embracing the moment and what's right in front of him, he gets so fixated on trying to find this mentor.
Yeah. Like somebody to validate. He
dismisses that city monk. He sees smoking because it doesn't fit his image of what a monk should be.
Right.
Then he's completely in awe of these senior monks who show up in Mercedes, hoping they'll recognize his...
Oh, totally. You can just feel his yearning for that external validation.
Yeah, insisting on his own internal practice,
Exactly. It continues later on, too.
Definitely.
When he gets fixated on this Israeli monk's directness.
Right.
He sees him as the answer to his need for guidance.
Makes you wonder, is he really seeking inner peace, or is he just trying to fit into some kind of mold,
That's a really good question. And it makes you wonder if his, romanticized vision of monastic life is actually kind of hindering his spiritual growth.
Could be.
He's looking for this external solution to an internal struggle.
Absolutely. And speaking of internal struggles, his constant battle with hunger is so revealing.
Oh, yeah. He's always trying to sneak extra rice.
Right.
He's hoarding cayenne bars. It's so funny.
It's this constant obsession with food that really highlights, the Buddhist concept of desire. Even in an environment that's designed to minimize cravings, he's still struggling with them. And it shows how deeply rooted, these desires are. It's such a human thing.
Absolutely. And I think his actions kind of point to this deeper psychological need.
Yeah.
Beyond just the physical hunger.
Right.
Makes you wonder if he's seeking fulfillment in the wrong places.
So then we have this encounter with Ajahn Sumedho, who emphasizes release over attainment, and that seems really important.
Yeah, I think that's key to understanding that whole Buddhist principle of non-attachment.
Right.
He's basically encouraging Lindsley to let go of his striving, his grasping for that specific outcome.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Right. And it really challenges how Lindsley's approaching his seeking of being something.
Yeah, he wants to get somewhere instead of just being present.
Yeah, and it just reminds me of that quote by Ajahn Chah. Looking for peace is like looking for a turtle with a mustache.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah, I like that one. It really highlights the futility of looking for peace outside of yourself,
Totally. It's that internal shift.
It is.
It's letting go.
And this letting go it applies to everything, like our expectations, our desires, even our sense of self,
Definitely. And, it's interesting because Lindsley talks about humor.
Oh, right.
Like, he advocates for its importance in monastic life.
Yeah.
But he seems to totally lack it himself.
Especially when it comes to his own shortcomings.
Right. Like, he can't even laugh at his own contradictions because he's so fixated on being this perfect monk.
It makes you wonder if his lack of humor is tied to his need for external validation,
Totally.
If he can't laugh at himself, how can he really be open to the imperfections of his own journey?
So true. And I think this is where his friendship with Pamudo becomes so crucial.
Oh, yeah. They connect on this deeper level.
Yeah, like they share doubts and anxieties. They offer each other genuine support.
And a sense of belonging.
Totally. Which seems to be something that he's been missing.
Yeah, they have the conversation about, like, the honesty of personal diaries.
Right.
And it reveals a vulnerability that I think he's been resisting up to.
Yeah, and it's through that connection that he starts to soften his self-judgment.
Right.
And kind of embrace the imperfections of his path. It's like he's finally letting go of that need to fit into this perfect mold.
Yeah.
And starting to just accept himself as he is.
That's such a crucial step, you know?
Totally. But his commitment to solitude is really going to be put to the test.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
When he decides to spend some time in this clip cave.
He was craving that isolation.
Right.
But I don't think he was expecting what he got.
No, it turned out to be way more challenging.
Yeah, way more challenging than he anticipated.
Like extreme heat and bugs.
Yeah.
And he can't even fast successfully.
Yeah, that's a harsh reality compared to that, idyllic retreat he had in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it really makes you think, like, what is he truly seeking in this solitude?
That's the question, right?
Is it genuine introspection, or is it just another way to escape from his inner world?
Right. Like, is he running away from himself?
Exactly.
Or is he trying to run towards himself? And just as he starts to adjust to this isolation, he stumbles upon this totally unexpected connection.
Which, considering this was before smartphones,
oh my God,
adds another layer to how unpredictable life is.
Totally. Like, even in isolation, you can't escape life,
Right. Even when we feel alone, we're all part of something bigger.
Absolutely. So that's where we'll leave Lindsley for now.
Okay.
Kind of on the edge of this unexpected encounter.
Right.
His carefully constructed world is starting to crumble. So join us next time as we explore how this encounter and the challenges of re-entry shape his understanding of himself and his place in the world.
Sounds good. I'll see you there.
It's striking how Lindsley's re-entry into the regular world after the monastery reveals a real clash between his aspirations and his, deeply ingrained habits.
Yeah, like he's trying to reconcile those two worlds almost.
Right. Like, immediately he dives right back into technology, even customizing his Gmail background to this wood theme.
Oh, yeah, like a digital echo of those natural surroundings.
Exactly. But instead of embracing simplicity in his life choices, he tries to replicate it digitally.
Yeah, it suggests he's really struggling to integrate those lessons from the monastery into his daily life.
Absolutely. And it's not just technology. Even simple things become overwhelming.
Like, remember when he's startled by that grasshopper on his keyboard?
Oh, yeah. While he's listening to music.
Like sensory overload?
Makes you think about how pervasive sensory overload is in our own lives.
Right. Like, have we become so accustomed to it that we don't even notice it?
It's a good question. And Lindsley's experience makes me wonder if true simplicity requires more than just a change of scenery,
Yeah, like it requires a deeper shift in our relationship with desire.
Absolutely. And his struggles with food really highlight this point.
Like, even though he intends to keep a simple diet, he falls back into old patterns.
Remember that text message offering free pizza?
Oh, yeah.
Even though he couldn't redeem it, it became this huge...
It's like he's caught in this loop, constantly battling between his aspirations for spiritual growth and the pull of these human desires.
Exactly. And this internal struggle is really highlighted by his reaction to Ajahn Nisarano's...
Oh, the monk who gave that bleak talk.
About the meaninglessness of life outside the monastery.
At first, Lindsley judges him so harshly.
Projecting his own anxieties onto him almost.
Yeah, it's like he's searching for someone to blame for his own internal conflict.
But then Ajahn Nisarano praises Lindsley
for his cleanliness.
Right, connecting it to a state of mind, and suddenly Lindsley's totally won over.
It's like a complete 180.
He completely disregards the hypocrisy of the monk's previous statements.
Example of how easily our perceptions are swayed by our own needs and desires.
Totally. Like, he's so eager for validation, so desperate to fit in, that he overlooks any contradictions.
And this seeking external validation continues in his conversation with Ajahn Sukhido about donating to Yipin.
The woman who cooks for the monastery?
Right. He wants to give her half of his donation, which is a really admirable intention.
Absolutely, recognizing her often overlooked contributions.
But when Ajahn Sukhido says it's too much, Lindsley just accepts the reduced amount.
It's like he's still seeking approval, even if it means compromising his own values.
Makes you wonder how we can cultivate genuine self-awareness and act from a place of inner conviction.
Especially when we're constantly seeking that external validation.
Right. But even amidst all these struggles, there are these moments of lightness.
Like when Ajahn Sukhido teases Lindsley about handling money.
Oh yeah, he drops a coin and feigns this shock.
It humanizes him.
Totally shows that even with strict monastic rules, there's still room for humor and connection.
Right, and that theme continues in their final conversation before Lindsley leaves the monastery.
He's looking for guidance on navigating food and meditation in the outside world.
But instead of profound solutions, Ajahn Sukhido emphasizes practicality and self-awareness.
He even admits to struggling with these same issues.
Yeah, it reminds us that spiritual growth isn't about achieving some perfect state of detachment.
Right, it's about acknowledging our humanness and striving to live with greater intention.
Exactly. And that conversation about the quote from the Tao of Leadership.
Be free, learn to...
It seems to really resonate.
He's seen firsthand how challenging simplicity can be.
And Ajahn Sukhido's reflection on accumulating things, even in a monastery, shows that it's an ongoing struggle.
Donation.
It's a practice.
And for Lindsley, what seems to matter most is connection.
He leaves with a new appreciation for his friendships.
Especially with Pamuto and Yanasaro.
Their shared vulnerabilities, their moments of humor and support really enriched his journey.
And those connections help him navigate the turbulence of re-entry.
Like that accident on the way back to Nanachat.
It's a reminder that life is full of unexpected turns.
And that even the best laid plans can be disrupted.
Yanasaro giving Lindsley a neck massage after the accident.
It speaks volumes about their friendship.
Just a small act of compassion can be so grounding.
Especially amidst chaos.
And then that bittersweet reunion with MJ in Bangkok.
Full of unspoken emotions.
The joy of reuniting, the awkwardness of their relationship, the trauma of the accident.
It's a lot to process.
Lindsley's changed, and he's not sure how to navigate all of it.
It's a poignant ending to this chapter,
leaving us with a sense of closure and anticipation for what's next.
Rejoin Lindsley here in this final part of this journey. It's clear he's wrestling with this idea of how to integrate his experience at the monastery back into his everyday life.
Yeah, it's not like flips a switch and everything's different.
Right. Process.
He's still seeking, he's still processing, but I think now he has this deeper awareness of how complex.
Absolutely. And his reaction to Dhammakaya, that mega monastery, is a perfect example.
Oh yeah, where Pamuto first ordained.
Its massive, almost corporate feeling, a far cry from Pujamgam.
It seems to completely overwhelm him.
Remember when he breaks down in the grocery store aisle?
Overwhelmed by all the choices.
It highlights how much his perspective has shifted.
Yeah, it's like he's seeing the world with new eyes.
Hypersensitive to the excesses and distractions of modern life.
And it's both a gift and a burden, right?
Totally. On one hand, he's more present, more mindful.
But on the other hand, he's more aware of all the disharmony.
Exactly. And this tension is amplified when he meets other Westerners seeking a simpler way of life.
Like that social worker in Laos who's also traveling without a phone.
That conversation about shared values and rejecting technology.
It almost echoes Lindsley's initial aspirations.
It reminds us desire for simplicity and disconnection resonates with a lot of people.
Especially in our hyper-connected world. But as Lindsley's journey shows, true simplicity isn't about escaping to a monastery.
Right. It's about cultivating mindfulness and compassion in our everyday lives.
And his relationship with Pamuto really underscores this.
They stay connected, sharing their doubts and insights.
It's like they provide each other with a sense of continuity as they navigate these transitions.
And in their final conversation, they reflect on those different personalities of the senior monks.
It emphasizes the importance of finding our own unique path.
There's no one right way to grow spiritually.
It's about discovering what resonates with us, what challenges us, what leads us to greater self-awareness.
And embraces this idea of individuality more fully as his journey progresses.
He's letting go of that need to fit a mold.
And that's what makes his story so relatable.
He's not some enlightened guru.
He's a mediocre monk, making mistakes, stumbling, but ultimately growing from those experiences.
Reminds us that seeking isn't about achieving some perfect state of enlightenment.
About embracing the messiness, the contradictions, the humor, the unexpected connections that make up a human life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into a mediocre monk, I think we're left with some big questions.
What does it mean to live a meaningful life?
Not just in a monastery, but in the messy reality of our everyday world.
What insights will you carry with you from this exploration?
Lindsley's story has given you some food for thought.
Maybe it encourages you to continue your own journey of self-discovery.
To find your own unique path to meaning and purpose.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and remember to embrace the imperfections along the way.
Thanks so much for joining us on this incredible exploration of Mediocre Monk and the profound lessons it offers. I hope you got a good laugh out of it and can see where maybe you fit in on this story as well. So if you found today's episode of any value, we'd love for you to subscribe to the Vortex Energy Podcast, share it with a friend, and leave a rating that helps other seekers find this transformative content. Remember, your energy is powerful and every moment is an opportunity for growth. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep vibrating at your highest frequency.